Let me tell you about a very strange and chilling legend connected to an old house in England called Burton Agnes Hall. The story goes back many years to a young woman named Anne Griffith. Anne lived in the large family home with her relatives. One evening, she was walking back home from a nearby village after visiting friends. As she walked along the quiet road near her house, two men suddenly stopped her. They were begging for money. Anne was known to be a kind and generous person, so she opened her purse to give them a few coins. But when the men saw the diamond ring on her finger, their intentions changed. They demanded that she give them all of her jewelry. Anne refused to give them the ring. The two men became violent and attacked her with a heavy club. They beat her badly and then ran away with the ring, leaving her lying on the road. Despite her terrible injuries, Anne somehow managed to crawl all the way to the gate of Burton Agnes Hall. A servant eventually found her and rushed her inside to her family. But the injuries were too serious. Anne was dying. Just before she passed away, she made a very strange and frightening request. She told her family that after she died, they must remove her head and keep it inside the house. She warned them that if her head ever left the house, terrible things would happen. Her family was shocked by the request. They thought it was too disturbing to do something like that, so they ignored her final wish. The next day, they buried Anne normally in the church graveyard nearby. But that very night, something terrifying began to happen. Strange, loud crying sounds echoed through the halls of the house. Doors slammed violently on their own. Furniture moved, and people could hear strange banging noises throughout the night. No one in the house could sleep. These frightening disturbances continued for 3 nights. Finally, the family became so frightened that they decided to follow Anne's last request. They went to the graveyard and dug up her coffin. When they opened the casket, they were shocked by what they saw. Anne's body was inside the coffin, but her head had turned into a bare, grinning skull. Terrified, they removed the skull and brought it back to Burton Agnes Hall. The moment the skull was placed inside the house, the strange disturbances stopped completely. Years later, when a new family moved into the house, a maid found a box containing Anne's skull. Not knowing what it was, she threw the box into a cart with garbage. But something strange happened. The horses pulling the cart suddenly refused to move and began shaking with fear. At the same time, the entire house started shaking and pictures fell off the walls. The chaos only stopped when the skull was returned to the house. After hearing the story, the new owners sealed the skull inside a wall so it could never be removed again. To this day, no one knows exactly where it is hidden. But according to legend, every year on the night Anne died, her ghost steps out of her portrait, floats down the staircase, and disappears into the darkness behind the house.